out on religious freedoms in India, etc., etc., right? It's like, stay away.
Yeah.
We will deal with whatever we have to, and that's what New Delhi has said all along.
And this is a very obvious alignment for China, Russia, and India. When it comes to these reports that come out from either the Pentagon or the State Department, as far as democratic institutions, protests, religious freedom, press freedom. These are annual irritations that come in. So it's interesting, Vishnu, that you should point out that that's been given place in this statement as well.
Also, the central role of the United Nations by fully implementing, I'm talking about terrorism, by fully implementing the relevant UN Security Resolution and the UN Global Counterterrorism Strategy in accordance with the UN Charter of the Principles of International Law in order to jointly combat all terrorist organizations.
Let's bring Aditya in.
China is talking about the United Nations and a global counterterrorism strategy. That's important because they've opposed us in the past in the United Nations on terrorism. Aditya, go ahead with your thoughts.
Aditya, this couldn't be a bigger headline. Pahalgam, just a few hours after that question you put to the Indian Foreign Secretary, we have a confirmation now that the declaration actually mentions Pahalgam. There couldn't be a bigger outcome.
Shiv, nobody had expected this. In the last 24 hours, we've been talking to a lot of diplomats, but they were mummed. But it seems that there was a lot of diplomacy that was underway behind closed doors. India was very much, pushing the agenda against terrorism. India was pushing the exact terminology. And this is a game changer, really, in the relationship between India and China, because these are far-reaching consequences as well. This also comes at a time, the condemnation of cross-border terrorism and Pahalgam, when this morning at 5:30 a.m. there's been an attempt by Pakistan at cross-border terrorism, at infiltration in Jammu and Kashmir. The White Knight Corps has put out the details of the same. So the Pakistani terrorism continues. And this is also not just a major diplomatic victory for India, and perhaps when it comes to Pakistan, India's diplomatic coup, but it is an embarrassment for Pakistan. Imagine, Pakistan calls China an iron brother. Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, along with a huge delegation, arrives here in Tianjin, China, but they have to face this wrath of the statement of the declaration, which clearly condemns terrorism, but gives a very detailed answer to how terrorism needs to be condemned, how countries need to stand against terrorism in all its manifestations and forms, names the Pahalgam terror attack. And everybody in the world knows that the Pahalgam terror attack was the game plan of Asim Munir and the Pakistan army. It was a conspiracy of the Pakistani deep state, and that was followed by Operation Sindhu. So it's a massive embarrassment coming in for Pakistan. I don't know how Shehbaz Sharif or his entire entourage will really